Is it late? No, no, it's early. Early, right?
What are the humans doing?
Do you think you're ready? Can you handle the truth? Or are you in denial? Demanding more proof? They demonstrate in real time how they're spinning your lights, but no one pays attention, no one opens their eyes. They walk around like zombies with their head in a mobile, signaling their virtues with a pick on their profile. Yeah. Signaling their virtues with a pick on their profile. So if you think you're ready, you don't need more proof. Conspiracy deniers are denying the truth. They fabricate our problems and pretend to provide the best solution, but we all know they lie. They lied about the weapons and they lied about health. They lied about the fact that they're transferring the wealth. You should really notice how they're pushing the fear. Keep everybody terrified and not thinking clear. Keep everybody terrified. Keep everybody terrified and not thinking clear. When you do, you realize that this is the trick. It's getting really stupid now, they're taking the mic. Said, do you think you're ready? Can you handle the truth? Or are you in denial and demanding more proof? They demonstrate in real time how they're spending lives. No one pays attention, no one opens their eyes. They walk around like zombies with their head in a mobile, signaling their virtues with a pick on their profile. Yeah. Signaling their virtues on their profile.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Let me explain what's taking place here tonight. I have a guest who, due to time zone circumstances, we had a bit of a miscommunication, and he will be in around 10. So until then, we're going to do this whole show in reverse, right? We're going to do the after dark material I have put together first, and then if he shows up, we'll do his show. And to join us, I have my Binky back. Hey, Binky.
Hey.
And I also want to give a special thanks to 007, who is also co-streaming this on his channel. He's over yonder doing a sleep because it's the middle of the night for him. And I am attempting to do a non-copyright show tonight for us. I thought you were going to hook it up, but if you do or don't or whatever you do, it's up to you. Welcome to the show. Keeping the swine in line. What's up, bud? All right, let's go back to the beginning, because the very first entrant we have who gets the gold is Ernie Hatmaker, who came in here about 2 seconds after I said this thing, by the way. She showed up immediately. Liz Miss gets the bronze, and Izzy gets the silver. That's not the way that goes. Swiss Miss gets the silver, and Izzy gets the bronze, because I'm a terrible, terrible person who can't remember how things are supposed to go. Early.
Ricky, move.
Oh, what have you done?
Nothing. We're good. My bad.
Good. Hey, Tails. Welcome in, darling. Good to see you. It's another previous guest. All right. So I have selected a few videos here. One of them I think is fairly boring, but at the same time, it raises an interesting point. even though it's a hard.
Oh, you froze. Or did I freeze? No, you froze. Everybody. My StreamYard's jacked up.
Nope. Now is it working? This is terrible. Okay, now it's working. Cool. So was it working earlier when it was all froze up? Okay, so that's working, but this is not. Right?
Is happening in the back.
Cool. Cool, 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 cool. I think we got it all together again.
Around in your day to day. It's almost like our society is scared. Oh wait, it is. So how is it possible to be living in the safest times in human history, yet at the same exact time be so scared? This is Barry Glassner, and he said a very profound quote that I really like. Quote, "We are living in the most fear-mongering time in human history. And the main reason for this is that there's a lot of power and money available to individuals and organizations who can perpetuate these fears." Bingo. Man, fear and anxiety. This is going to be a very important video when it comes to understanding how society programs us using fear and anxiety against us. Basically, prehistoric emotions that we've used for survival for such a long time. And now it's used in different domains like politics, marketing, and education to get people to act a certain way. So I'm going to cover at least 5 domains of life where this is present, and also what happens in the body when it comes to fear. How does the mind react to fear? How does the body react to fear? And of course, we're going to talk about what you can do about these things that go on. From a base survival standpoint, the mind scans the environment for threats. Like, what could potentially kill me, basically, in the environment? And fear arises, it's an emotion that we feel to alert us to either fight the threat or run away from the threat. And when we do this, the thinking mind shuts down. The body prioritizes thinking a lot less, and it prioritizes survival more. And think about it, when you can get people to think less rationally because they're in fear, you can get them to go with any cause or belief system you want them to, right? Because you can position your belief system as a way of getting away from what they're scared of. So for example, a politician that wants to get elected, he's not going to necessarily just talk about the things he wants to do for the people that support his party. Sure, that's nice. But that's not going to really persuade people at a primal level. What's going to really persuade you at a primal level is talking about the things you fear most. So if you fear, for example, people taking your jobs, If the politician wants to get elected, he's going to talk about that a lot. They're going to steal your jobs. Your brain reacts to that like, oh, they're going to steal our jobs. I don't want that. How do I prevent that? Oh, I just have to make sure this guy's elected. The fear persuaded you way better than any positive benefit ever could. Humans like to avoid pain more than move towards pleasure. Always remember that. Here's a quote I really like on this. Quote, if you look at the cellular level of the prefrontal cortex and hippocampus, the thinking and memory forming parts of the brain, when you're living under constant states of fear and anxiety, you can actually see them shutting down. They shrink, they wither, and the amygdala actually gets bigger. Our rational thinking mind starts to not be as optimal because the body's prioritizing survival, right? And the fear emotion perpetuates us taking some sort of action. And here's a quote on what I just said that I really like. Fear prepares us to react to danger. Once we sense a potential danger, our bodies release hormones that slow or shut down functions not needed for survival, sharpen functions that might help us survive, such as eyesight, heart rate increases, and blood flows to muscles so we can run faster. So you can see how base level and animalistic things can get when someone lives in perpetual fear mode. When anxiety and fear is something they constantly see and consume in their lives, the decisions they make are driven by that. The body is viewing this as, okay, I need to make decisions now that prioritize my survival because I'm in threat right now, because I'm perceiving things as fears and threats. Where is this perception coming from? For example, you're watching the news, it's only perpetuating negativity. How is your worldview of the world going to be? It's a dangerous place, right? So you don't have time for emotions that are high in a higher vibration like joy, gratitude, and contentment, because you're at a baseline reptilian survival emotion. Here's another quote. For mass media, insurance companies, big pharma, advocacy groups, lawyers, politicians, and so many more, your fear is worth billions. And fortunately for them, your fear is also very easy to manipulate. We're wired to respond to it above everything else. If we miss an opportunity for abundance, life goes on. But if we miss an important fear cue, it doesn't. So this is powerful, right?
Basically, when you're talking about a fear response and anxiety, an actual fear response is triggered when a threat is perceived that is a direct threat to one's personal safety. This fear response is fully justified and has every reason to trigger all of your heightened senses, your raised pulse rate, increased adrenal response, increased eyesight. It's been proven that people can actually see better in the dark or in darker conditions during a full-on fear response. However, when this response is misplaced, you end up with things like certain types of OCD behaviors, sometimes some things like your basest panic attack. And anybody out there who's ever had a panic attack because they had to talk to somebody on the phone, and I've been there, especially right after I started like actually cold turkey getting clean. I had this horrendous anxiety level. I remember at one point in time, I rode down to the Waffle House and I pulled up in the parking lot and I sat there and stared at all the people inside, and it was just waitresses and two customers. I sat there and stared at it, and then I shook my head, went home and made me a biscuit because I couldn't deal with the idea of actually talking to people at that point. It took me another couple of weeks to get my gonads in a good pouch to go up there and do it. But I had a full-blown panic attack sitting in that parking lot. Once I had a bit of a nervous breakdown before work one morning because I had been working 76 days in a row, 10-hour days, and had lost something like 25 pounds or something like that. And I remember I got up and was on my way to work and just snapped. There was no actual trigger, nothing specific set me off. I just was a broken thing. And I didn't call in and I didn't go in. In fact, I sat right there outside of that bank for about 6 hours, just sitting there, like trying to decide whether I was going to quit my job and just go on with my life elsewhere, or I was going to go in and try to face all of the BS about missing a day. And I ended up going in and working there for like another 3 weeks. But it was really interesting, the reaction I got when they asked me why I didn't come in, and my response was I didn't want to. And they just let it go. They didn't fuss at me. Apparently something about my response rang true, and they just let it go. There was no write-up. There was no kind of butt chewing, nothing. But I guess it was apparent that we'd all just about had enough at that point. No, 10 hours, 76 days, 74 days before I missed one day. And 76 days was how many days there was before there was an accident, an actual lost time accident. Outer Territories, welcome in. Yin Yang News Now, good to see you. Janica?
Right here. When we talk about living a better
Andrew
life,
Landlord?
right, you want to experience high vibration emotions that are in alignment with a great life, right? Like I said, emotions like joy, for example. But in order to have emotions like joy, you need to perceive your environment as being safe. So when your environment is safe, now you can easily create the things that you want in your life. It's easier. I'm not saying you can't if it's unsafe, but it's easier if it is. Now, we have a negativity bias, as in we watch for threats, because if we don't notice the threat, we're not going to be alive to even live the amazing life that we want, right? So it makes a lot of sense. But the problem here is that these societal infrastructures, politicians, big pharma, these domains of society prioritize financial gain over your ability to live high vibration emotions. They don't care about that. That's none of their business. They care about monetary, tangible things like profit, bigger customer bases, etc. So it would make sense that if they don't have your best interest at heart, then you need to be more responsible for the emotions that you feel. So that means you need to watch what you consume. You need to watch the things that they feed you. You have to question things like that. And I'm going to get more into that later in this video. Quote, the more we learn about the brain, the more we learn it's not something that's supposed to make you happy all the time. It's mostly a stress reactive machine. Cool. Its primary job is to keep us alive, which is why it's so easy to flip people into fear all the time. So now I'm going to get into different parts of the brain. I'm going to just keep this very baseline simple. So you have the reptilian brain, which I mentioned, deals with mainly survival and also bodily processes as well. Next, you have the limbic brain, which deals with your emotional centers, right? Hippocampus, things like that. And then you have the neocortex, which deals with your rationality, things like abstract thinking, cognition, etc. Let's focus on the emotional center.
Also, delayed gratification. Delayed gratification is a feature that the modern society has lost almost entirely. The ability to suffer for something you want before you get it is an almost completely missing skill in the newest generation. If they can't get that endorphin bump immediately, they will move on to something more interesting immediately.
Center is mainly the amygdala. The triangle of neurons on the amygdala parses through stimuli coming in from the outside world, looking for, and among other things, threats. If it senses danger, then the neurons start firing, signaling that the central amygdala to activate a defense response to the body. This whole process is an unconscious physiological response. Perspiration, increased heart rate, shortness of breath. So that's what it looks like bodily wise when it comes to fear. Now, a quick distinction between fear and anxiety is that fear is something that you are experiencing that's present, or it's very close to happening and you're extremely certain. Anxiety is a feeling that you're anticipating something to happen, but it's not present at all. It's more so something coming from the mind. Now let's look at areas where
there is a quote, and it comes from one of the worst movies ever made, but the quote by itself almost makes up for how terrible the film is. In After Earth, Will Smith develops the ability to simply not experience fear. And he explains it something like this, and I'm going to paraphrase it. When you are afraid, you are scared of an event that has not happened, might not happen, and may never happen. You are afraid of a fictional environment, a fictional thing that may never occur. And that might be one of the definitions of insanity. You are making up a reason inside your head to become fearful and releasing this cascade of hormones throughout your body. And you're not in control of your actual functioning. Your decision-making gets a little bit wonky when you're having a fear response. I don't think there is a significant distinction between a fear response and anxiety. The distinction seems to be mostly how real the threat itself is. If the phone rings and you have a panic attack because it might be your daughter calling to tell you something horrible's happened, or welcome in, Michelle, or a saber-toothed tiger jumps through the window and lands in your living room. Both of these are threats, and both of these are equally valid, although granted it's unlikely a saber-toothed tiger will show up. But the threat level is much higher when dealing with a fearsome beast than with a phone call.
Fear and anxiety is used mainly against you to go for certain agendas or to act certain ways that are in the best interest of certain societal domains or infrastructures. First, the news.
Exactly. Reminds me of a forgotten book where an alien was confused about why humans fear and worry. Something like, why expend the energy and create the crippling effects on events that may never occur? Exactly.
The news prioritizes viewership, of course. And a lot of times people focus on things that are negative because the brain is looking to survive. It's scanning for threats. So if it's noticing something that's a threat, it's going to pay attention to it. Okay, what can I do about this thing that's happening in the news right now? Is this a direct threat to me? Is it not? Let me be on alert. Now, I'm not saying to not stay up to date on things. You should. But what things actually matter and what things actually don't? That's a very important distinction here. Because you can get lost in the sauce when it comes to things that don't matter and things that are just sensationalized to get your attention, to get people talking. We live in an attention economy. If you have people's attention, that can be very lucrative. Here's a quote: propagandists work under the assumption that people eventually believe what they hear most often. The constant hyping of a culture of fear has rhetorically scared otherwise reasonable people into irrational emotions and behaviors. What's repeated most often has a profound impact on the psyche. So it's twofold. You have repetition, which is a method used to program your subconscious mind. Right? When you repeat things over and over again. B, emotion, repetition and emotion, the emotion of fear. So you have repetition and fear combined together can program you. This is powerful stuff when we look at what media we take in, not just the news, but I'm talking social media. I'm talking television shows. Next, politics. I touched on that just briefly. Politicians use fear in order to gain your votes, if votes even count. They use this as a way of galvanizing people towards a certain cause, right? Towards a certain way of thinking. And when you can galvanize people under not just a way of thinking, but an emotion, they feel closer together and they feel more against the opposition. That's how it's used in politics. Quote, we regress to tribalism when afraid. This is an evolutionary advantage that would lead to the group cohesion and help us fight the other tribes to survival. Tribalism is the biological loophole that many politicians have banked on for a long time, tapping into our fears and tribal instincts. Some examples are Nazism, the Ku Klux Klan, religious wars, and the Dark Ages. In my video for ego defense mechanisms you're not seeing, I talked about splitting, the ability to not see nuance in an argument. This is the bread and butter of a lot of political movements. It's us versus them. We don't need to see their side because they're wrong, they're evil. We're the right people. We're fighting for good, basically. Next, education. There's a lot of career fear when it comes to education. Education pushes career fear. If you don't get this degree, you won't be successful. If you don't go to this school, you won't be successful. If you don't get this credential, you won't be successful. A lot of this is bogus. Sure, are there examples of people getting certain accolades and degrees and having successful careers? Yes, there are. There's a lot of proof for that. Is there proof of people getting certain degrees and accolades and not being successful? Yeah, there's a lot of proof for that. Are there people not getting any degrees and accolades and being successful? Yeah, there's proof for that. Is there evidence of people not getting accolades and not being successful? Absolutely. There's no linear path for career growth. There are people that start from one career and they go to another, right? Because they just learn the skill sets. So there's a million ways to skin a cat. When it comes to your career, don't buy into the fear around, like, let's say you're in college or something, or let's say you're just in a...
Have you been paying attention?
No, I was having technical difficulties. I had to reboot my whole system.
Mine tried to do that earlier. It just completely crapped out.
Yes.
And I hit the reset button and it all shut down and come back up and restored everything. And I'm still waiting for it to just completely crap out on me. So if I go down, I'll be right back. Just, I don't know, make kissy faces at the screen for a little while or something. There you go, girl. You got it. You know, like
career. Nope.
All right. So what we're discussing is fear and anxiety and the programming the public has been experiencing over the past 30 years.
Okay.
Wow. Okay. Yeah. No, you're not wrong. Promethean healing. It does allow for the edges and fringes to be encroached on through a racial attack specifically. And I don't think that's an accident. Remember, I told you this is kind of a boring video, and I don't entirely agree with his premise of it, but it's a very well thought out and expressed description of fear, anxiety, and the use of it in propaganda. And for that reason, I think it's worth the time to pay attention to. Wow, I said that really well. Damn, I got to stop doing that.
You did.
Don't buy into the fear that you can't transition to something new just because other people believe that they can't do it, so they think you can't do it, or it hasn't quote unquote been done before in your family, etc. Because it all comes down to our beliefs. If we believe something to be true, we're going to act in ways that show it. But if we can look at opposing arguments, that goes a long way. And this is very lucrative for things like universities, right? Like they can convince you that they're the one path to move forward. It's not the case. Did I go to YouTube University to have a YouTube channel and to help a lot of people in their psychology and spiritual growth? No, because YouTube University doesn't exist. But did I learn psychology and learn the ins and outs of it? Self-study, and of course I took some classes in college, cool. But most of my knowledge comes from self-study, right? And my self-experiences and a real-world application, which makes my videos so effective. Humbly. So this is the thing with education, right? When it comes to how fear and anxiety.
He has been infected by the YouTube virus. Can you tell? It's me. Oh Lord. Oh, he's a good man. I love him. He's going to be a great YouTuber. I absolutely know it, no doubt.
Anxieties are used to get you to buy that textbook, to go to that school, to join that fraternity, etc. You have to watch that and be very aware of how it's used to have you do certain actions. Next, religion, of course, right? Fears of where you will be in the afterlife based off your behavior here. You want to watch this as well. Be free to question it. Is there a part of your psyche that questions this belief that if you act good in the 3D realm throughout your whole life, that you will go to a certain positive destination, or if you act bad in your 3D life, you will go to a negative destination after? You want to question this. How is your fear used, right? And is something like religion even holding you back? Are you living a fraction of a life because a religion told you that if you do this, it's wrong? And also look at evidence that people doing this thing that's wrong actually turn out to live a great life. So that's very important. Next, marketing and sales. Companies really prey on FOMO, fear of missing out, scarcity, urgency, basically fear-based thinking in order to get you to buy things now, et cetera, et cetera. I would know because I own a marketing business. And I don't use these tactics because I don't agree with them, but I see them. Same with sales, right? Like you go to a place and the sales guy comes up to you and he's like, oh, like we only have this last thing left. Like, you want to get it now? Because we're going to be out next week. And you come back next week and they have like a whole shelf of it left. That's another thing you want to be mindful of. Relationships too, right? Relationship fears, your beliefs around how relationships are, your ability to get into a great relationship or have a unique type of.
At the beginning, I can put my chat on screen. I cannot put Richie's chat on screen. So if you're in a 007's chat, you won't pop up on the feed at the bottom of the screen. But I can bring you up over here like this, and I will try to do so. Although there's a lot of people here tonight, and I might miss somebody. It's nothing personal, I promise.
He refuses to have me help. Just saying.
I mean, I just, it would be easier if I could put them both in my feed down there. I just haven't figured out.
It would be easier if you just gave me permission to highlight your stuff for you, so you wouldn't have to worry about it.
Yep. That would involve me relinquishing some small amount of control. I'm not sure I'm prepared to do that.
I can do as I'm told, damn it.
I now have fear and anxiety.
Society can tell you that a relationship is like this, but it turns out that this way that it tells you how it is actually not even healthy, right? There are people that literally believe that arguing consistently is a healthy relationship. I don't think it is at all. I think that's stupid. I think disagreements are common. And I think there are different ways of going through disagreements, right? You can cordially talk about why you think you're right, and the other person can cordially talk about why they think they're right. And you can be firm about how you talk, but arguing all the time, being a healthy relationship or showing a sign of a healthy relationship, I think that's bogus. So we want to question that as well. So let's talk about what you can do about all of this. First, watch what you consume. The subconscious mind, it doesn't care about truth per se. It cares about what's repeated and the repeated habits and actions you do. So you have to be hyper aware.
But nah, bro, I prefer my fictions with spaceships and dragons. But continue.
Of where you put your consciousness. Is it social media? Okay, what kind of content do you consume? How often are you on it? And are you using it as basically, you know, a crutch for things you don't want to face? So we want to look at what we consume. And this is easier said than done, but I always go by the rule of make sure you're consuming more good things for your mind than bad things for your mind. I know there's the bubblegum entertainment that we all like to watch, right? I freaking love like ignorant rap music. I just love it from time to time. Having fun, enjoying rapping along. I love it. But I understand that I'm not going to consume that all the time, right? Because it's dumb and ignorant, right? So I'm going to still have things that stimulate my mind for the better. Next, learn about your psychology, right? Not just your psychology and the mental processes of how you work, but also the higher realms of human potential. It's not just psychology, but it's, okay, how does the body affect the mind? How can I manifest the things that I want? What about frequencies? How can I think in a high vibration frequency that is in alignment with things I value, etc., right? Whether it's a person, right? Whether it's a possession. And you want to be also careful with this, right? It's not just all about desires and material things. You want to do an analysis of, is this something I actually want, or is it something that I was pushed to want? So, for example, you want a big house. Do you actually want a big house in this certain state or country, or were you told to get that big house in this certain state or country? When we look at the higher realms of human potential, when we practice meditation, when we learn about the law of assumption, when we learn about universal laws, we want to think about, okay, I want this thing, but is this something that's actually going to fulfill me, or is it something that I was told I should want? Next, actively take responsibility for everything in your life, your emotions. Sure, we have all of these things going on in society that are bringing out certain emotions in us, but at the end of the day, it's coming from us. So it's our responsibility to be careful what we're consuming and then focus on the emotions that we want and the emotions that are in correlation to a great life. Make sure we're staying up in the higher vibration emotions and not beating ourselves up for being in lower vibration emotions. In Stoicism, there's a topic of temperance.
I kind of get the impression that he's making a stab at the concept of misinformation as an actual bad thing to have online, that there's such a thing as bad information. There's things that are true. There are things that are untrue, and you're at liberty to discuss it amongst yourselves, right? However, if you decide something untrue is true, that don't necessarily make it fucking so. So you can disagree with the truth all you want, but the truth is a lion. It needs no defense. And that might cause you some anxiety.
Well said.
Hmm?
Temperance, where you're okay with both sides of things. You're kind of in the middle. So although we prefer the higher vibration emotions, yet when we experience the lower ones, we implement temperance to be okay with that and then get back to where we want to be. So take responsibility for your life all the way through, and you won't blame so much society for how you are. We're at the cause of how our lives turn out for the most part. Lastly, ask more questions, right? Question things. When things come up, when you consume certain things, when society tells you to be a certain way, question it. Why should you be that way? Look at opposing arguments. Play devil's advocate sometimes. Even things you believe in, play devil's advocate. When you implement these types of things, you start to look.
Well, bro, I mean, it kind of makes sense if there's 0.6 people per square mile and the two of you were in the same place. You were probably first person he had contact with all day. He just wanted to say hi, but he's a cop, so he doesn't know how to do that. He just pulled you over and ran your tag. That's how they say hi. You got to learn to speak Piganese.
Look at fear differently. You start viewing it as something that, okay, from a survival standpoint, it has helped us for such a long time. And now it's being used to get me to act a certain way. So I need to be aware of how society is using fear to get me to act a certain way.
All right. That was Jim Veda. And I think he did a pretty good job at that, even though I don't necessarily agree with the exact framing of it. I feel like he seems to believe some mythical force out there should take responsibility for what you're consuming online, when I believe it is your decision to decide what is and is not. And we can discuss all of the foibles of what is and is not, but I'm not going to simply say, well, you know, screw you, I'm right. Actually, I absolutely will under certain circumstances, but that's because I simply believe those things. And I don't judge you for doing the same thing. By all means, tell me to screw off. You're right. You know what you're talking about, and I don't. And I will smile at you and say, lovely. It doesn't bother me that we disagree. It is fine. That's not going to ruin the world. Nobody's going, you know, not bursting into flames or nothing. We're good. It's okay. We can disagree and move on with our lives. Now, this next video, it gets weird, but if you're going to be covering, Clockwork Orange, you should probably start weird and move weirder from there, because I don't even know. I have difficulty even describing what any part of Clockwork Orange is about. It is a very multifaceted movie. It is very difficult to say, well, you can go in and break down individual scenes, but you can't just point at the movie and be like, oh, well, it's about a dystopian future of authoritarianism. Yeah, it's that. It's about a country that's been overtaken by big pharma. Okay, yeah, you're not wrong. It's about a country that's been taken over by corporate greed. Also true, it's an anti-communist propaganda. You're not wrong. It's anti-authoritarian propaganda. You're right, but, you know, it's also a cautionary tale on how not to let things go too far in any given direction. That a certain amount of cynicism is actually a good thing and not just wussing out or milquetoast. That was pretty good too. I got to stop doing that.
For as long as human beings have told stories, we have invented worlds that do not exist. We have imagined portals to supernatural realms, paradisal fields, islands of the undying, civilizations on distant planets, palaces under the sea, gateways to hell. But in modern times, we have brought the subterranean hellscape to the surface in one of our most popular made-up worlds, the dystopia. From classic literature like Brave New World in 1984 or Fahrenheit 451 to more recent, massively popular book series, which have been adapted into box office powerhouses, alongside enduring cult classics, as well as too many video games to mention. For 100 years now, we have been fascinated by nightmare visions of environmental disasters, squalor, societal decline, or tyrannical governments maintaining complete control over a society, whether through brute force, propaganda, censorship, denial of free thought, brainwashing, or all of the above, leading to a complete loss.
Part of it comes from an experience of being an absolutely horrible person for quite a long time, and then realizing that, God, I'm such a terrible person. I should stop doing these things. And so I did. Hello, Not Really Here. Welcome in. Wait, can I say, can I welcome in someone who's not really here? Or
I
should
really
I
don't know.
hasn't possibly been here? I don't know. We're going to welcome you in anyway. Welcome in, bud. So yeah, no, things are going to get progressively weirder from now until the end of this video. And this is a pretty long one. It should take us in until Job shows up. Hopefully, I guess. That's not a charter. What did I miss? Oh my Lord. My chat just went nuts for a second.
Yeah,
there.
you're always missing stuff in chat. See, if
Dude.
you had a helper, you'd be on the ball all the time.
All right. Hold on now. You chastised me earlier, and I fixed my links on my channel for you.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Give me at least one day to screw up something else. Jesus.
Oh, it's a screw up every day.
Oh, yeah, but just one thing a day. That's all I ask.
Okay.
All right. We'll fix it tomorrow.
Okay.
Of individuality. But in this ever-expanding genre, there is one dystopian film
No,
that stands
you're
out
not, Becky.
as horrifyingly
You're in
unique,
chat on
breaking the
007's
mold, and creating a dystopian.
Sorry, you're in chat on 007's channel, not mine. But I have his channel running this because he decided to do that this morning while we were talking. Although this has gone horribly wrong so far and nothing's actually working right. So we'll, right. Previous guests have the opportunity to come in and restream Sasquatch Shills. Richie specifically told me that he didn't mind a copyright claim as long as it wasn't a strike. Said he didn't even care about a takedown, just no strikes. And I can do that. That I can do. If I had the full list up here full, if there were like 10 people, I would have shut off the co-stream before now. But Richie specifically said he didn't care. He said, let it go. So I said, okay. What's up, Princess OPD? Welcome in. Her cat is almost 19 years old. Did you know that?
I did, because I've been around for almost 2 years. I remember when it was 17.
Right. I think I might have remembered when it was 13 once, but I might have just that night. No promises.
Dystopian world unlike any other, except maybe, potentially, our own. Stanley Kubrick's 1971 film adaptation of A Clockwork Orange follows the deviant peregrinations of a young criminal.
You are definitely in the intro. It's just that you never came on camera and you used a different avatar that day. And so you saw Cat's eye pop up and leave. And while it was popping up, your name was at the bottom, but I brought up one of these and it covered it because I'm just that type of asshole. Actually, real estate on screen is fairly valuable.
Criminal named Alex DeLarge, as he navigates a dystopian version of London, England, where, unlike more conventional dystopias, where the authoritarian government maintains more or less perfect control of the populace through various means, in A Clockwork Orange, we encounter a society that is simultaneously authoritarian.
The police are fond of bringing their victims to the outskirts of this village,
while also being rampant with crime. We see this firsthand as the film starts off like John Wayne giving a swimming lesson, throwing us headlong into the deep end with a demonetizable scene in a bar that sells milk laced with drugs, invoking the sense of an almost paradisal society, flowing with milk and honey, a society that has nevertheless descended into an erotic debauchery that rivals the licentiousness of the most decadent Romans. The whole purpose of the drug-laced milk is to sharpen up Alex and his gang of droogs for a night of recreational violence. We watch as Alex and the gang commit a series of increasingly heinous crimes, beating a homeless man, fighting a rival gang, and breaking into a home where they mercilessly beat and assault the inhabitants. It's clear that this is a world of gangs, poverty, and matter-of-fact crime, in which a series of violent acts can be committed not only in one night, but over a series of nights, even against the...
I have gotten an erroneous update. Let me see if I missed something back here. Check my emails and stuff. Yeah, no, I sent him the link and he has scheduled his own show on his own channel for 10. That is unfortunate, is it not? Because it seems like I might be a little busy over here, you know, doing a show. Maybe he'll figure it out, check his email. I don't know. We've got a language barrier. There is a bit of a difficulty in communication. There seems to be more than just the language barrier would really ordinarily explain. So I'm thinking we're maybe talking at cross purposes with each other. Maybe.
Maybe.
I'm not sure if it's intentional. It's not on my part. I'm just trying to be clear. But I don't know how bad the the language barrier is. He spoke fine English when he was here, when I talked to him, but then again, I was hammered and I probably wasn't speaking great English myself. Not gonna lie. What's up, unindoctrinated? Oh, I miss Danny Stanton. He come in?
Yep.
Oh man.
I wouldn't have posted.
I need to check out his comic book readings, man. They tickled me something fearsome. He don't even read the comic book. He just tells you what happens in the pictures. It's fucking hilarious.
That's my kind of reading.
Right? It sounds really bad when I say it out loud like that, but it's actually real funny. I dig it.
Middle and upper classes of society, and the criminals can get away with it again and again, night after night.
It's a stinking word because there's no law and order anymore. It's a stinking word because it lets the young get onto the old.
But if it really is true that there is no law and order, then we might be surprised to learn that this is actually not an anarchist society, nor is it even a disintegrating society ruled by a crumbling government. In fact, it is a heavily authoritarian society. Not only is police brutality ubiquitous, but halfway through the film, we are told that the prisons are in fact overflowing as more and more people are arrested and imprisoned. Yet the streets are not safe, nor are people safe in their own homes. Despite the mass incarceration of criminals, for every deviant locked up, another one seems to appear. And it's this problem that leads the government to use experimental techniques to try and rehabilitate criminals, taking away their very ability to commit crimes or to choose to commit crimes, so that the government can have a safe, crime-free society on the one hand, and also on the other hand have more room in their prisons for political prisoners.
What we need, a larger prison, more money.
Not a chance, my dear fellow. The government can't be concerned any longer without myriad penological theories. Soon we may be needing all our prison space for political offenders.
Thus, A Clockwork Orange exists in a world of contradictions. On the one hand, it is a democratic society which holds elections, yet it's also simultaneously authoritarian, where political dissidents are outright jailed. The government is anti-fascist, conditioning criminals to hate Nazism while employing experimental scientific techniques which would have made any Nazi scientist or Unit 731 scientist proud. Kubrick responded by saying, "I think modern art's almost total preoccupation with subjectivism has led to anarchy and sterility in the arts. The notion that reality exists only in the artist's mind, and the thing which simpler souls had for so long believed to be reality is only an illusion, was initially an invigorating force, but it eventually led to a lot of highly original, very personal, and extremely uninteresting work." In Cocteau's film Orphée, the poet asks what he should do. "Astonish me," he is told. Very little modern art does that. Certainly not in the sense that a great work of art can make you wonder how its creation was accomplished by a mere mortal. Thus, the set design of A Clockwork Orange establishes a society that is unastonished, anesthetized, intellectually self-sedated, drugged and therefore easily and willingly controlled. This is a society of calloused, hollow subjectivism, devoid of any true individuality or originality. A society that only wants to be happy.
They will sell liberty for a quieter life.
And therefore creates mediocre art and drab buildings for a drab world. Since mere happiness, as Huxley wrote in A Brave New World, is never grand. Of course, stability isn't nearly so spectacular as instability. And being contented has none of the glamour of a good fight against misfortune, none of the picturesqueness of a struggle with temptation, or a fatal overthrow by...
All right, so I have some interesting mathematical crap happening currently. According to Richie's stream, he has 10 people in his stream. According to mine, I have 9 people in my stream. According to StreamYard, we have 27 people watching. And that means there's what, 4 people, 5 people unaccounted for? This is very strange. I don't get it. YouTube lies. So does StreamYard. I don't trust none of them.
By passion or doubt, happiness is never grand. An encounter with true beauty is too tumultuous of an experience, a reflection of the eternal in time, beckoning man to a higher destiny. Truth and beauty are the enemies of easy, undisturbed, mild tranquility. Huxley wrote poignantly, "You got rid of them." Yes, that's just like you, getting rid of everything unpleasant instead of learning to put up with it. Whether 'tis better in the mind to suffer the slings and arrows of outrageous fortune, or to take arms against a sea of troubles and by opposing, end them. But you don't do either. Neither suffer nor oppose. You just abolish the slings and arrows. It's too easy. Dystopia comes from taking the easy path, by trying to abolish all problems, ills, discomforts, and evils. The proper response to trouble and evil, and the only way to preserve a dignified liberty, is to face whatever is bad, not begging the sloppy and corrupt state machine to end our problems, but to face them ourselves, and by opposing, end them. You know, pray not for easy lives, pray to be stronger men. I could rehearse platitudes all day, but I think Stanley Kubrick himself best sums up the challenge which his own film presents to us.
All right. Are you still in your previously created live stream? Because if you are, it won't let you enter a second live stream sometimes, depending on the software you're using. You would have to end the previous live stream and exit. So you might have a window attached to some part of StreamYard over there somewhere. Wow. Okay. We're not yelling at you, dude. That's multiple people dropping the link. Don't. We'll get there, man. We'll work with it. And if we have to reschedule to a more convenient time, we can do that too. I was really hoping to talk to you there. I think it would be really interesting.
The challenge of carefully balancing law and order with freedom, of balancing safety with an allowance for danger and evil. He said, "I am certainly not an anarchist, and I don't think of myself as a pessimist. I believe very strongly in parliamentary democracy, and I'm of the opinion that the power and authority of the state should be optimized and exercised only to the extent that is required to keep things civilized. History has shown us what happens when you try to make society too civilized, or do too good a job of eliminating undesirable elements. It also shows the tragic fallacy in the belief that the destruction of democratic institutions will cause better ones."
I've got it saved over here on the list of things I haven't checked out yet, and I'm getting to the Universe 25 experiment. I'll definitely have fun looking at that in detail. I'm out of weed.
Ones to arise in their place. Certainly, one of the most challenging and difficult social problems we face today is, how can the state maintain the necessary degree of control over society without becoming repressive? And how can it achieve this in the face of an increasingly impatient electorate who are beginning to regard legal and political solutions as too slow? The state sees the specter looming ahead of terrorism and anarchy, and this increases the risk of its overreaction and a reduction in our freedom. As with everything else in life, it is a matter of groping for the right balance and a certain amount of luck. Well, thank you for watching.
All right, so that was Empire of the Mind, talking about the cultural and political aspects of A Clockwork Orange, which I'm pretty sure everybody in chat either loves it or hates it. Very few people watch that movie and come out the other side going, well, that doesn't mean anything. I really doubt that. I really doubt it. Let's see. We are going to skip. All right. So what happens when the police get the wrong person and they bring them in?
The body of 33-year-old Taylor.
Oh, here we go. All right, bud. Over here on the right side of your, can you hear me?
I can.
What do you want me to call you? Will Job work?
Job.
Excellent.
Yes.
All right. So over here on the right side in the upper right-hand corner, there's something that says stream to audience. You see that?
Oh, upper right-hand corner. I
Should
just
be.
see, let's check.
Are you on a computer or a phone?
On my iPad.
Okay, on an iPad, I'm not sure. I think.
Let me check for more.
I think it might be down where it says more. There might be like three dots. Stream to audience.
Stream
yes.
to your audience. I see it.
All right. Before you click it, because it might take you out of here when you click it. I don't know. Before you click it, figure out what you want to title it and how you want to handle the description. If you want, I can share the title and description that I used into private chat, and you can copy pasta those if you can figure out how to get it to work. It didn't work for me earlier. If that's acceptable to you. And dude, you're right on time as far as where we were at in this whole thing. And I got a little bit of stuff that I got to do to kind of make it look proper and straight and correct. And it's just visual gimmicks mostly. How you doing today, bud? Working out for you? Yeah, I don't understand how the parliament actually works. They seem to just, yeah, it popped him out when he tried to do that. It happens sometimes. Hopefully he'll pop right back in. Now that is weird. Now it says device not connected. I can't add it if it doesn't connect proper. And it didn't pop up anything over here. It hasn't actually synced it in yet. Meanwhile, we are going to check out something I did for Grim Reaper Network. Check this out. Welcome to the Grim Reaper Radio Network, the final resting place for ideas but controversial and tame. I'm death, not taxes. I turn up only once. The truth may be out there, but the lies are inside your head. Despite the rumor, death isn't cruel, merely terribly good at his job. It is often said that life is cheap. This is, of course, completely wrong. Life is often very expensive, but you can get death for free. Do you not know that a man is not dead while his name is still spoken? Light thinks it travels faster than anything, but it is wrong. No matter how fast light travels, it finds the darkness has always gotten there first and is waiting for it. Join Grimm on his distinctly underground network. Figure it out, bud. Hey, you got your avatar. That's super cool. I like that, dude. That's another really good Mel Gibson-ish film. Apocalypto. Excellent. I can't hear you if you're talking. You're not muted, so I don't know.
I hear you nice and clear.
Okay, my bad. All right,
Can
so
you hear me okay?
yes, sir. I hear you. All right, so from scratch, we do the thing. So I'm here with Job. He's agreed to come in and discuss his channel with us. I have a few of his videos brought up. Typically, we'll look over on muted until either he wants something specific played or it becomes necessary to play something. Otherwise, we generally have a conversation about the content on your channel. I upload I sync up your most recent, your most viewed, and your first video, and we play that in the background while we discuss what is the purpose of your channel and what inspired you to create it. Magnificent. And I'm wondering if this is technical issues or no, I have it muted. I was hoping to talk to you. We can play the audio if you'd like. Or do you have no audio at all? Can you not hear me at all?
Birds chirping. Hello, Israel. This is roughly 4:30 in the morning, close to 5 o'clock. Dr. Shah, Dr. Kingdom Prophets in the house. It is early morning. This is called the LUDLOW Massacre Museum. They say this is the area where they took a Gatling gun and massacred a bunch of Mexicans and their families, owned by the Rockefellers. Wow. You hear all those birds chirping? Not that long ago, there was a Gatling gun shooting the shit out of a lot of families.
Yeah, here's the story right here.
Okay.
It says miners demand a better wages and an 8-hour workday, a safe workplace. So this is the whole reason why people have workers' rights.
Okay.
Because of this.
Everything. Let's make sure that's functional.
Massacre right here.
Yeah, that works. That works. That works. Okay, so that's not an issue on this end. And everyone in chat can hear me? Yeah. Yeah, you can hear me, not Joe. Okay. So sometimes you have to like, look at this. Check your settings. Oh, that's pretty good. Did that help? Probably not. Welcome to Sasquatch Shills, where the technical issues might become the entire show. This is not the worst I've had. I once interviewed a deaf Bigfoot hunter. Pop out or what's it called? Refresh the page. It'll kick you back out and bring you back in, and it might. There you go. Yeah, no, I mean, not. I went through the same problems when I was starting out with my whole YouTubery thing. In fact, I never intended to do a face reveal. I was going to use a big old scary monster thing like this. And that was going to be all you could see of me. That was my plan. I was going to read almost. It's trying. All right. How about now? I can hear you.
I got the volume on full, and I can't hear shit.
It's really low on your end.
Yeah,
okay.
I believe you.
Are you using
your
earbuds?
I can't hear him, and I can't even hear myself.
So the microphone is working.
I can't hear you. Okay.
You seem to be having audio issues.
Let me see
if it's an iPad, do I have crappy speakers? No, he can't hear me, but we can hear him. Actually, I accomplished all of this for probably right at a grand.
Can you hear me?
You're listening to me on YouTube, and that is about 15 seconds.
This is not the worst I've had. I once interviewed a deaf Bigfoot hunter. Pop out or what's it called? Refresh the page. It'll kick you back out and bring you back in, and it might.
The issue is on those tablets like that, you can't see things like your private chat and the comments, and also deal with your sound and stuff all on the same doohickey. Do you want to be on camera? Because I'm not bringing you up unless you want to be on camera. Yeah. Change the title to the show to How to Operate StreamYard. It's, like I said, it's not the worst I've experienced. I'm so proud of everybody over here in Double O's chat. They're all just toughing it out like good soldiers over there. They have no idea what's going on. They think this is a perfectly ordinary show. It kind of is. Hopefully you can hear me now.
I can hear you nice and clear.
Cool. Awesome. All right. So the way I typically do this is we discuss your content, your channel, what inspired you to do the channel. I have your most recent upload, your most popular upload, and your first upload. And I'm going to play them in the background, and you can bring up any topic you wish to discuss. Oh, don't do that. Well, that is weird. What is going on? Stop it.
This is roughly 4:30 in the morning.
All right. I'm sorry. My computer's going absolutely batty. But we got it functioning now. Super. All right. So how long have you been YouTubing?
Not long.
6 months, a year?
Well, before I took the endeavor I did, I think I was just doing some weird shit. So I wasn't like pursuing like what I'm pursuing now.
Right. I've
So
noticed you've
I
done a
think
few more uploads recently.
I would say about maybe 2.5 years, maybe 3 years.
Okay. And you've uploaded more in the past few months than you have in the previous, what, 2 years?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir.
Okay, so young Job is sitting around with his camera and he decides he's going to upload a video to YouTube. What possessed you to decide to upload a video to YouTube?
What video? This one you're looking at right now?
No, your first video, when you uploaded your very first video.
The love for my people.
Beautiful. It's as good a reason as any.
Yeah. Plain and simple.
I love you. Okay. All right. So do you have an overarching purpose to the videos you produce, or is it just whatever what strikes you as interesting currently?
Anything that is truth driven, history driven, that can be fact checked. And with the indigenous history of my parents and the people who were along the way before I ever came to this planet and decided to be a participant and go to school and not know what all this was about. I just my passion is getting back what is mine, and even though that the Most High said it wasn't supposed to be mine, I would like to have it back. You know, it's a normal thing. Just like if someone stole your father's home and you see that person living generation after generation after generation, knowing that as your grandfather's home and you can't do shit about it because of colonization. You don't have the might, you don't have the power, you don't have the military, you don't have the force to take back what is yours. So, of course you're going to get mad. You're going to want your grandfather's house back. That's only common sense. So
I don't disagree with anything you've said so far. Continue.
That's my passion, is to awaken my people and let them know that we are not a low nation. We're a very high nation. Society made us low. The white man painted a picture where we're inferior, but we have the most greatest cities of all the world, part of the 7 wonders of the world. Where did all the intelligence, where did all that go? Oh yeah, of course, colonization. You know, they got rid of the elders, they separated the men and the women. They took the babies out of the mothers, took the babies, slammed it against poles. You know, they raped the women, they raped the men. I mean, what else more is to say? You know, you guys need to wake up. My people need to wake up. My people need to wake up and realize, you know, the people who are coming across the border, who you call illegal aliens, who are actually indigenous peoples of this land, is being put in cages. I don't think your family are put in cages. You know, you got families being torn apart, You see mothers and children crying and screaming because you have the Border Patrol ripping these families apart. And you got people complain about the jobs that we take, but these are the fucking jobs you guys don't want to fucking do. Period. I mean, you put 10 of your best people in your nation against one of my paisas, and I guarantee you, each one of your guys will fall to the floor, and my paisa will still be kicking ass. And he will arrange the fruit, he will arrange the vegetables in such a perfect manner, and such gentleness, that you wouldn't even buy it at the store if it wasn't perfect. So
You see
our
the
people
video
were.
I have highlighted? I'm sorry, I'm not trying to interrupt. I just reached the end of that video. Do you see the video I have highlighted? Issachar on the move.
Yes, sir.
Is that your first video upload?
I believe so. I believe so. Mm-hmm.
I have a thing that I do. It's just for funnies. I found it. I found it in a movie, and it's called YouTube Paleontology, right? Where I go find the very first upload of a channel. We take a look at it, and we talk about it. And I got a little visual skit I do over here, and it's silly.
Okay. I'm used to it. I mean, I'm used to being humiliated and degraded.
I've done humiliating
So
you.
I'm
You'll
cool.
understand it.
I'm cool. I'm cool with that.
You know about cars? Yes. I'm a paleontologist. Oh, it's okay. There's dynamite in this bag, too. I am a paleontologist. I'm a paleontologist. Paleontologists study really old stuff. Like crackers.
Because bad movies are funny.
Right. It's just a little funny. Okay, so what have we got going on in this video? Hey, bud. Welcome to the show. Good to see you. I don't know if you meant to mute yourself.
My bad. I was just trying to be respectful. That's just me waking up the people in the ghetto areas.
Okay.
It looks like I'm in people complain and they make fun of me that I look like I'm at the end of a abandoned building, but that is a very corner of a liquor store facing an apartment complex where a lot of poor people live, and a lot of poor people, of course, are a majority of them are melanated people. So I'm just there waking up my people, reaching out, speak like. Appreciate trumpet, speak loud, let the people hear you. That's what I was doing. I'm not sure what exactly you want. Maybe you want to listen to it and maybe comment on it.
We can. I literally am interested in why you chose this video. Obviously, you're not filming yourself. You have someone filming for you, and I come from like a Southern Baptist slash evangelical type of upbringing. So somebody standing on a street corner talking about what they believe is not unusual where I come from. This is normal.
What's normal?
To state your beliefs in public, to try to speak to people on a person-to-person basis in a public setting.
Okay, well, let's just take into consideration what you just said. Okay, how many people like me go out there and preach and don't worry about their getting their ass kicked or shanked or being thrown bottles and shit? What are the possibilities of that happening?
The true believers.
Because it's happened to me more than once, and it's happened to me in my videos. It's very high, bro. It's extremely high.
I haven't had a whole lot of time to watch your videos. I've watched maybe a couple of hours of these videos and a few bits of a few others. Usually I have about a week before I actually host the channel, so I usually have more time.
Right.
That's
Well,
you.
I'm gonna be, just to be frank, a lot of the confrontation that we get is from Caucasians, and a lot of them come out and say we don't believe in that shit, quote unquote. So, I just say, well, you know what? It wasn't even for you from the beginning. You can just turn your ear. I wasn't even talking to you. I am here for the ones who want to listen. Just like how you come out and present your information,
Right.
it's for those who want to listen, and want to be able to the Jewish redneck prepper. That's funny. Um, you know, that's what I'm doing, man, and I just want my people to know that they're great people. That's the reason why I go out and do what I do.
Well, in America, we have the First Amendment, and doing this very thing, it would be protected. I can't say that people wouldn't throw rocks and bottles at you. I would wish that they wouldn't. I can say that
Okay,
locally they probably wouldn't.
it's all good. It's just something that comes with territory, man.
Yeah, I
You know.
imagine anytime you're saying something that's unpopular to the crowd you're saying it to, it can sometimes be stressful.
Yeah, yeah.
Makes
So
sense.
what? Let's get down to business, Mr. Sasquatch.
Yeah.
So what is the real reason you wanted me on your show? Because I went into your show. I was questioning about your colonization history. You laughed about it. You grinned about it, and then you asked,
Very drunk.
let's have a cordial conversation." So that's what we're doing.
Yes.
So
Um, First of
let,
all, I
let,
agree. The video I was showing is definitely colonial colonization history. You're right. Sherman burning down most of the South is definitely, yes, not a debate
right.
there. Um, I'm not here to disagree with you. The purpose of my show is to present your content and your method of delivering it and your message as you choose to deliver it. I am
Okay.
doing an expose over YouTube, not over particular channels. You have a YouTube channel. You have 400 and something subscribers that show up, as far as I can tell, for most of your videos. You get around 100, 150 views on a lot of them. And that's real good for a 400 sub channel. So clearly you're saying something people want to hear. And I'm just curious, how did you get here? How did you do this?
Well, I got here because I was wheeled into something called, um, well, it all started with my family. My father was or actually, my grandfather was a Vietnam vet, and he was a black man. He was married to my, um, we call Alita, or my grandma. She was from Chihuahua, and she told us that blacks and Mexicans always been family from the very beginning. And I grew up with that, not knowing how significant that was, and I didn't really pay attention to that until recently. I just decided to put blacks and Hispanics family, and then lo and behold, all this information came about, and a lot of information that came about was a lot of stuff wasn't taught to me in school, and a lot of it was self discovery, and then rediscovering it through websites like .edu, .org, stuff like that. Just legitimate websites, and then talking to people who's been around the area and who's had stories from generations passed on from one generation to another generation. The story's consistent that we are the lost tribes of Israel, and I didn't know how that was. I've always went to church. I've always figured out. I always wondered who were these people. I remember saying that when I was a little kid. Who are these people? Who are these people? Who are these people? Who are these people? And um, 4 or 5 years, I guess 3 or 4 years ago, all this information came as a flood. Um, it was information that was uplifting for me because, so, like I said, society has painted me to be a low person, and I grew up being low. So um, that all changed when I found out who I was, And a lot of people are saying, so you need a religion, man. It's not a religion. It's not a religion. It's a nationality. It's never been a religion. It's never been about a religion. But they taken what was ours and they made it into religion. So now you have nations fighting against other nations. You got governments fighting against other governments because of something that was written. And it wasn't even for them, you know. But that being said, um, it changed my mentality. I, I know I'm a king. Uh, Living in the exile, I'm basically a king living in the bottom. I'm the richest man on the planet living in the bottom of society. And that is my message, is to wake up the people and let them know that I was in your shoes. I know exactly how you feel, and I want you to be where I am at. I want you to be great. I want you to be powerful. I want you to be a king. I want you to be a princess again. I want you to know that this was all yours before colonization. I cannot just give a mountain to my son no more. I can't give. I talk to my son and I talk to my daughters. Did you ask for all these buildings to be here? And they say no. I said, I didn't either. He says, have you collected any rent from any of these people? She goes, nope. I said, me neither. But in the Bible, it says that, well, I don't want to quit. I'd rather just quote verbatim, I don't want to misquote the Bible. But,
Okay.
and I know you don't believe in it, so I'm not going to really push it that far. But the
If
thing
you
is,
want to quote the Bible, if that's what you want to do, do it. This is a show about your channel, your content, your reasons,
well,
your meaning.
okay, I'm saying, let's do it. Forget my little hamster. He's running.
The hamsters do run, don't they?
Mm-hmm. All right. A lot of the Israelites that we have today, they call them the BHIs or Black Hebrew Israelites, and I'm not affiliated with that, but I am affiliated with the message that the word is for everyone, but salvation is not. You know what I mean? So in the Bible, it states that in the end, everybody's going to have to follow the commandments. That's just the bottom line. I mean, whether you believe it or not, and a lot of scientists like to say and like to state that the Bible's not true, but for some reason they keep finding it true and finding it true and finding it true and finding it true and finding it true. And I was just looking at when you were scrolling, dude, and I just threw my
I'm
and
sorry.
threw my freaking no, you're good, you're good.
I'll stop. I'm trying to get
I
your
gotta
link
stay
in the chat in
focused.
the right spot. I'm sorry.
I gotta stay focused. Um, and I just my passion is for my people, and that's it. Um, I go to college. I was in a sociology class. The first thing he said, and I appreciate this man, white supremacy exists. I just want you guys all to know that. And I looked at
Brother,
that
I'm
guy,
from Georgia.
you know.
You ain't telling me
I
nothing.
looked
Yes,
at
white
I
supremacy
looked at
exists.
well, I know, but I'm just telling you from an indigenous perspective, a lot of indigenous folks are afraid to say that. You understand? And they're afraid to express their opinions. And the thing is, when he came out and said that, I was like, dude, okay, cool, I'm not crazy. You know what I mean? I'm not crazy because I thought I was crazy. Because a lot of people come out and say, well, you're acting like this, you're acting like that. I've seen it so many times. And I go through it to this day where you get put on the bottom and all these white people got the better jobs, they got the better positions. You get put on the hot hot ass fucking desert weather where they get put on the nice 65-degree weather, and then they get the jobs are 15 minutes while jobs are an hour and 45 minutes, and they pay exactly the same. But you know in the background that you're not getting paid exactly the same. You already know that they're getting paid $20 or $15 more than you are, but they won't say anything because they don't want to get thrown underneath the bus. Oh yeah, man. I even do that. I face this shit every fucking day, bro. Every fucking day, and it never fucking stops. And it's the same recipe. It's the same old fucking good old boy shit. And I just want to wake up my people and just let them know that you guys need to stop being fucking slaves and know your worth. That I don't know if you noticed, but what happened, and did you hear what happened in Florida? Did you hear about the shutdown that the did you hear about that recently?
Dude, a lot of stuff happens in Florida.
Okay,
They had a guy.
okay, you can look it up. A lot of people they were talking about Title 42 or something like that. I'm not sure if you remember that, but the entire state of Florida pretty practically shut down because the indigenous people didn't want to work. You should have seen how much. You should have seen how many jobs were abandoned, bro. A shitload. You should have seen how many fields didn't get picked. And I want to let my people know how much power, how much pull they have. Because you can't be letting these people run you over. I'm not saying you necessarily, but a majority of you are just the other way. You know what I'm saying? And what I mean by the other way is you have nefarious intentions to basically exploit labor with all these rich white men who want to make money, but they're trying to find a cheap way to do it. And then they open the fucking gates for all my people who are indigenous to this fucking land, who get called illegal fucking aliens, who get called fucking wetbacks, who get called X, Y, and Z. And you have Grab Abbott with these fucking buoys with razor fucking wire and a saw blade to drag women and children underwater on their fucking land? Come on, man. You don't think there's something fucking wrong with that picture?
Absolutely.
I mean, if this was your land, bro, if this was your land and I colonized your fucking land, trust me, bro, you would be bullshitting me. You wouldn't want your fucking land back. You would be fucking lying to me. But I'm just telling you, you would want your shit back. You would want your grandfather's house back. And the thing is,
right now.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Give 1 second. I'll let you go right back at it. During the Civil War over here, when the North started Reconstruction.
Let me go somewhere where I can barely hear you, man. He runs way too much. All right, go ahead.
All right, so when they did the Reconstruction of the Civil War, it disjointed everything in the local community. Most of the buildings were burnt down. Almost all of the land was broken up and given to people who moved here from. There's loads of people who were disenfranchised of all colors. We weren't all white, rich, aristocratic landowners. My family was indentured servants. When the South lost the war, most of these people were cast out onto basically being homeless or sharecroppers if they could get a job being a sharecropper. And yeah, I can agree that there is a certain amount of grit that sticks in one's craw when you see your land that was legally your land up until somebody else decided it wasn't. I could see that being a major issue. So I'm agreeing with you. This video here, I can't play all of it because it's almost certainly copyrighted, and if I play too much of it, they'll hit me with a takedown, right? But this is, let me get the title right. Aztecs are Israelites, period. And I didn't see the title that the was it Gaia.com gave it. Can you elucidate that some for me? Hey, Mexican Longhair, welcome in, bud. It's good to see you. That's previous guest. Did I lose your mic? I think we lost his mic. I'm going to be honest with y'all. It's still better than the Deaf Bigfoot Hunter stream. Right. Drop out, pop right back in. It should start working again. Hopefully. So how you doing, Mexican Longhair? You doing good, bud? It's good to see you. Grim Reaper, welcome to the show. Hey, man, don't use the trash that you recorded off of the beginning of my show the other night. I've got a much better copy of that. In fact, I emailed it to you. Can I hear you? Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right.
Can you hear me?
So, yes, sir, I can hear you.
All right.
Okay, continue. I'm sorry I interrupted.
You were asking about the video.
Yes, sir.
So what did you want to know?
You chose to put this particular video up. It is your most viewed video that I could find that's not a short. And why do you think that is? I mean,
well, because of a lot of the history that that is found even today, that was discovered maybe about in the last 5 to 10 years. There's a large amount of Paleo Hebrew history that was found in the Americas, and all this history, like a lot of people like to dispute primary sources, like the Backcrete stone, and there's some other stones. There's other inscriptions, on mountains and stuff like that that kind of predate the existence when we were here and the times when we traveled to this land from the other side of the land, which was in towards Mesopotamia and Israel and all that area. So that's where a lot of this history touches. A lot of this video touches on what I just said.
right. I watched it earlier. It's an excellent video. I really enjoyed it.
Right.
Are we talking, when you say way back, when you're talking about way back, are we talking back Olmec? Or are we talking pre-Olmec?
Well, the Olmecs today, a lot of black people like to state that that's them, that they came during the ancient times, and like that head right there.
Right.
If you go in and you know, like for instance, you can go into a generic research and go into Mexican history, and you read, I'm pretty sure you will see Olmec on there. The history, they like to say that the big lips and the big nose is them, but anyone that lives near the equator have big lips and big noses. That's just how it works. But a lot of the history with these people are just natives that are basically scattered throughout these lands that we have, you call America today. And a lot of folks that you can probably have another Native American on here, and
It just faded out on us. Let me see if I can fix it. Nope. We lost you again, bud. I will do this as long as it takes. I can come in and edit all these little bits out, and it'll actually vaguely resemble a normal show, except I won't have on my sunglasses. All right, I can hear you again. Thank you.
Alrighty. We're just talking history, MLH. We're just talking history, man. I don't know what else you want to know.
Okay, so, and this is from a complete lack of information on this subject. I'm going to ask a few questions. I don't know enough to know whether what I'm asking is offensive or not. So all I know to do is ask a question, right?
I got thick skin, man. So
okay, I'm a retired troll. Yeah, thick skin. We'll get along famously. We'll be good. When you pointed out the wide nose and the thick lips on this, are we assuming that these individuals were African, Mesopotamian type source? Is that
no? Did I answer that question already or no? Oh, you didn't hear me.
You said people near the equator typically have wide lips and flat noses. So you're saying
is that
not
correct?
It's not incorrect.
Okay, so why we? If I'm telling you that it's a Native American, why are you asking me if that's a? Why are you asking me if that's an African? If I've already told you it's already a Native American.
I'm not trying to offend you, bud. I'm just saying it's the Hebrew
I'm
angle.
not. I'm a logical person. I apologize. I am a logical person, so I do computer science. So I'm a very logical.
Just fine, brother. But the Hebrew angle is an old world concept, and to tie in a Hebrew angle to probably connectivity issues. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Hello?
Yes, sir. I can hear you. Shit. Yeah, if it would be lovely if we could keep it going for more than like a minute or 3 minutes at a time. That'd be awesome. I hear you. Can you hear me? See, this is the beautiful part about editing. I can cut all of this crap out in the actual episode when I upload it, and it'll look relatively sort of professional, I suppose. I don't know. I can try. Can you hear me, Joe? Nope. I personally don't like iPhones or iPads. I've had nothing but problems with them when doing stuff like this. This is a common occurrence. It's almost as if the iPads and iPhones have a limited amount of echo cancellation or noise control or something. And once you fill it up, it's can you hear me now?
I don't know what the hell's going on. I'm pretty sure you guys can hear me, but let me just try. Can you send me another link, man? Because I don't know what the hell's going on.
Okay, I'll give it a shot. Links in private chat if you can hear me. I'm also going to send it to your email address. Hopefully. Assuming nothing goes horribly wrong in the next like 2 seconds. Usually we don't have this many problems when doing a show like this. But we had to kind of put this together pretty quickly, and we had some communications issues. I've sent the link. I don't know if you can hear me or not. I'm not sure a different link's gonna change it. Yeah, no, iPads, iPhones, all of that stuff. I've had unlimited problems in StreamYards with them, although they seem to work in Restream better. I've seen people sit on Richie's panel for hours using an iPad, and they're just like, "Oh, it's the greatest thing ever." But on StreamYard, it gives me no end of trouble. We're gonna try this a couple more times. If it flops out, we're gonna. It's already been 2 hours and 19 minutes. I think we've been running on this for what, 30 minutes, 45 minutes. So I think we had a pretty good conversation given what we had, though. I mean, a little bit of technical issues, and I kind of feel like I put the link there. There you go, bud. Neat. Did that go in? Did it actually go through there? Yeah, that worked. I think he came in on something else this time. Can you hear me here?
I can hear you. Can you hear me or no?
Yes, sir.
Yes or no? Okay.
Yes, sir. I can hear you. Yeah.
Offended, but yeah. Okay, cool. I wasn't trying to get offended or nothing. It's just usually my mind is probably wired a little bit different from yours. Usually, if I tell you something, and your job is to fact check it. You know, what I mean, verify I was wrong, verify I was right, and then we can have you can have another.
I have a different show. I'm not trying to say you're right, wrong, or we're disagreeing with anything. I want your channel, your information, your methods to a viewership. Hopefully, growing your channel and finding you more people to follow you. Yes.
Okay. Well, go ahead and what was your question?
Okay. It's the Hebrew angle that throws me for a bit of a loop. That's an old world tradition that is predating virtually any old world influences from over here that we're aware of, that I'm aware of. So that was the reason why I was asking whether you were going in that direction with the African or Middle Eastern or whatever sources, because that is kind of where that type of Hebrew concept comes from, typically. I just don't know.
Well, let's just say the narrative has been portrayed.
Right. Okay, that was the misunderstanding. I was thinking that you were saying that, or you were actually following that particular history. You're saying that it is synonymous. It's a equivalent concept.
Well, it's questionable because you have to question everything that you've been taught. So when you get this face and then you find out, oh yeah, that's an African face, you think I'm gonna believe what someone just told me? No, I'm not. I'm not gonna take your word for it. I'm gonna investigate that. And um, I've done enough research. I'm not an idiot. I've worked. I've done college for a long time, even to this day, and I'm not a first generation. So a lot of the research that I've done so far has been conclusive that these are the natives today.
Cool. I'm completely uneducated on that front. I've never been to college. I didn't actually graduate from high school. I simply self-educated myself to my heart's content in libraries everywhere I could get my hands on them.
Right.
I am
There's nothing,
interested in information.
nothing wrong with that.
This
So
has
did
been
you have any other
absolute.
questions?
That pretty well covers it. I think you've done an excellent thing here.
All
I really
right.
appreciate
Yeah,
your
if
time.
anybody wants to talk further about this, you guys can show up to my channel and we can talk further, or we can come to this channel, we could talk further, whatever you guys want. But it's just my bottom line, the objective is to wake up my people. That's it. That's the objective. And
Absolutely.
uh,
I think we lost him again. I appreciate your time,
who was
brother.
in my position.
It's just unstable. I lay no blame at no one. I blame the devil himself. All right, brother. I very much appreciate your time. I thank you for coming in and having a conversation with me and not being offended when I got things misdirected. I don't know if you can hear me right now. I hope you go back and watch this and hear this part. This part will also be on the episode when I upload it. Previous guests that come on Sasquatch Shills have the opportunity to come in any after dark sequence that I do. That doesn't mean you get on camera during the Sasquatch Shills, because that's specifically for the guest to present their content, their channel, their beliefs, their functioning, their methods. It's there to help people find channels that they would like to watch. Yeah, I know it's been doing weird stuff to me all night, man. Well, we'll get together again at some point. But you're invited to come into any future After Dark that I have. If you want to, you can just sit and listen, or you can come in and bring us technical problems, terms of service issues, anything like that. And we try to help. Typically, I'll bring up videos like this and we'll sit and watch them and talk about it until somebody comes up with a better topic, and then we'll mute the video and just talk out whatever topic it is. So, feel free to come back another time. Practice with the StreamYard. See if you can figure out how to get that stuff to work properly, and it'll help the whole process. I really dig your avatar. That is fantastic. I think a little bit of experience with cameras and microphones and stuff will serve you an immensity. I hope people find your channel and it grows, and that you find fulfillment in what you're trying to do. And that's the honest truth. That is the nature of the Caucasian Sasquatch's whole channel. I use a whole bunch of different methods to try to promote individual channels that I think are doing something better than possibly other people are doing, or in a unique way, or from a unique perspective. And those are the channels on YouTube that I go looking for to try to promote, because you don't learn anything by looking at the same thing everyone else is saying. The only way to advance your knowledge is to listen to those things you are unfamiliar with. And that is the extent of it. I don't know how else to put it. Let's see. That should have been about 45 minutes if my memory serves. And I'm going to wrap it up right here. I'm going to start off with one of these. Yes, sir. We're going to use one of these over here. So I love each and every one of you like a brother and a sister. I appreciate every one of your time. I appreciate Job taking the time to come and speak with us tonight. I appreciate Richie for letting me pirate his channel for the night. hopefully he'll let me do it again soon, and we can actually have a show that functions like they typically do. Usually we do this part at the beginning, and then we just free ball it at the end and talk about whatever. I appreciate it, Sunshine. I know I kind of fell out of touch with chat there towards the middle of the show, but there was a lot of technical crap going on back over here. I had to keep adjusting his echo cancellation, because you notice whenever it go all sparkly, it starts sounding crappy right before it would fade out. That was the echo cancellation mucking up, and I was able to fix it a few times, but it's StreamYards. I don't know what to tell you. They've got to work on their stuff, but y'all have a lovely evening. I really, really hope it all works out for y'all, and go check out my man Job. He's doing something. He's doing the YouTubery. I can fully approve of that, but until next time, don't let the man get you down.
Sorry. Good news, though. We're going to have to move the party somewhere a little bit more private, but you're all invited. Lorenzo will give you the details. Yeah!
Just getting started, not what you wanted, baby. Just get on it, ready to go. We know how to party, pull out the card, feel it in my body, put on